If your spouse is in this hall, you are not near each other, or not in this hall, type it right now, or wait, sorry, during break. Type it, how do I make you feel? When I'm with you, how do you feel? Their answer will tell you whether you're impacting on their state of mind positively or negatively. Another question you can ask is, what do you love about our marriage? What do you love about our marriage, or what do you not love? How else would you know? Observe them. What do they say? What do they not say? In casual conversations, you get these clues. The only way you will recognize and know is if you are ready to know. Because if you close your ears and close your eyes, you won't know. If you say, Dama, you know women, that's how they are, you wouldn't know. If you say, Dama, men, that's how they are, you wouldn't know. You have to be ready to know. And why does it matter? It matters in your hereafter, how you treat your spouse, husband or wife.
In a relationship, most people want to hear or want to express what is expected of them to express or to tell each other, and not what they really feel to express. Then I say, what if that real feelings is what hurts? How will you deal with it? Alhamdulillah, the Peace and Unity Convention 2024 has come and gone. And trust me, there's a lot of lessons learned from the whole event. I mean, a lot of take-homes. If you attended that event and you did not take anything home, wow, I must say, you missed. And if you did not attend the event, well, it's not too late. You can still go to the channel and to One Ummah channel to watch and also get your own, souvenir from there. So, to Barrister, did you attend the Peace and Unity Convention? And if you did, tell me what are the key take-homes from the event?
Alhamdulillah, the One Ummah Peace and Unity Convention 2024 for me was phenomenal. It's not every year I get to attend, so I really, it was fun for me. It was something I really enjoyed. I was there throughout the first day. The second I couldn't, but I made sure I watched the videos.
Yes.
And all the speakers were epic in their own rights. You know, Mufti Menk, as usual, the hall was packed full. In every hall he was in, he's a favorite Sheikh. Sheikh Muhammad Salah, Wael Ibrahim, Wali Basuni, Aisha Dabiruku, Sister Salatu Sule, people like Tuemia Zubair, and back home here, our sisters Hawa Bello, Aisha Dabiruku, Coach Didi, Memina Abdullahi, and there is so much to unpack. There are so many takeaway lessons. Just what you were saying about issue of real feelings, you know, tallies with what Sheikh Wael Ibrahim was saying in one of the panel discussions, I think on Sunday, where he was saying that, you know, the part where I think Mufti Menk was saying you should observe your spouse and try to know what is their real feeling, ask them. Kojidi was saying just something as simple as saying, how are you really feeling, and things like that. So he's saying
it's very easy to say so, but in reality, I'm telling you, unless you understand what your wife wanted, you will not be able to satisfy her. Unless you know what your husband wanted, you will not be able to satisfy her. Observing is good, but not everyone will read between the lines. And that's why, in my opinion, the best remedy is to develop a culture of openness, open discussion, reaching out, demanding actually, you haven't told me I love you for so long. I want to hear them from you. You might buy a diamond ring for your wife, but she doesn't even like diamond rings. She likes just words of affirmation, as the book of the 5 languages of love was mentioned, which, by the way, the Prophet ﷺ had 20,000 languages of love. If you can study how the Prophet ﷺ used to treat his wives, that will be the happiness right there.
And I think to this, Didi made a response about the culture of silence in northern Nigeria, where a lot of women are actually dying in marriage and have resorted to taking drugs. I remember she made a point like this, taking drugs and substances just to cope with the pain they are feeling, because, you know, there's this conservative nature of marriages here in our climb, where you are not allowed to really say what you are feeling, and people are ending up with mental health issues, psychiatric issues, and Sheikh Abdul Fattah Adeyemi too made a lot of sense in what he was saying, even though he was trying to be real. He was saying that, okay, so, you know, there is so much that I'm still trying to read through my jottings, to actually digest some of the
Yes.
points. In his own case, he was saying,
we don't have the opportunity to actually examine what is happening to us. And you see, this deen is a religion of knowledge. It's a religion of wisdom, not wisdom. No, not something you just wish will be. I wish I had a happy marriage. I wish my husband would listen to me more. I wish my wife will respect me a lot more. I wish. It's not wisdom, it is wisdom. And this wisdom comes from knowing ourselves very well, understanding and accepting ourselves and doing something about it.
sometimes you may not be romantic throughout the marriage. The marriage is in phases. It's in phases. There is a stage of the romance part. There's a stage of nurturing these children where you don't even have time for each other. That just believe that marriage is in phases and it should always be about how I feel, and romance and things like that. All the speakers made sense, to be honest.
And even what, according to Coach Didi, what she said about women, resorting to taking drugs and all that. But sometimes, if I'm sure if you even ask some of those women, they will tell you probably they must have, expressed their feelings to their husband, but he just didn't care to want to know, that to want to understand their feelings. And in order to take away that pain, they'll just resort to taking something as the only remedy to them, to help them take that pain away from them. And there are some husbands like that. There are some husbands that are so very romantic. They understand their wives. They understand how they feel. In fact, men looking at their wives, they just know how you feel. From what Salatu Sule said, it is good to always observe your spouse's mood. Because sometimes when you're causing harm to your spouse, because you know that this wife of mine or this husband of mine used to be very lively. I mean, he's a lively person. He amuses me, and all of a sudden you see your husband or your wife, start changing mood. You as a spouse, as a wife or the husband, you're supposed to ask questions. Even if she feels she might not really know how to really want to relate it with you, okay, this is how I feel. Probably with the fear of not wanting to, not knowing how to do it, or not wanting to hurt you deliberately or not. But you as a husband, when you're being observant and you know your wife very well and your wife knows you very well, both of you observe each other, you know that, okay, there's something wrong. But yes,
she mentioned something. Coach Salatu Sule talked about something that feelings are not nothing. Yes. They mean something, and you should be as partners on a journey. She gave the allusion of when you are traveling a long distance journey, your travel companion has to be somebody that you like, somebody that you care about. She said you are invested in their feelings. Don't brush their feelings away, because feelings are not nothing. They mean something. And you won't know their feelings if you are the cause of the problem.
Your husband or your wife is your travel companion through life as long as you're together. And how they feel matters. The state of their mind matters, because that affects what they produce, they give to you. You are invested in how they feel. I will say this 1,000,000 times. You have an investment in how they feel. Feelings are not nothing. They are everything.
And I remember Mufti Menk saying that it's mental health. So it's an issue caused by men. So it's mental health. And Kojini was saying the people that are supposed to be in this, whenever we are having discussions like that, they are usually not there. It's women that we are talking about, telling about mental health, do this and do that, take care of yourself, and things like that.
Do you notice that at the health and wellness hall, there were more of women than men? Like, I could say 70% of the people in that hall, the audience in that hall, were female.
And this thing happens all the time. I just observed that, because I try to go to all the halls, and my favorite hall anyway was the wellness hall. That was where I intended to be, but I briefly glanced through, and you will notice that in the wellness hall, which I think, well, not to belittle anyone, which I think was most packed with so many lessons. Women were more. Women are always so intentional about their personal development, about growing, about being the better version of
Yes.
themselves. In the business world, there were many men.
Yes, so
When Sheikh Wael Basini was speaking, I just went just to listen a little, and I noticed that most men were there. I'm sure they
Yes,
made up
so
their mind
they
that
want to
the wellness hall, let the women continue listening to mental health.
Wellness,
But
we are
for
going
us,
to look for money.
we are hustlers. Let's go and talk, listen to where they are talking about money. So, and then, okay, the Yakin hall was the general hall.
Yes.
But for me, my favorite hall was the wellness hall.
Wellness hall,
And
yes.
Coach Salatu Sule also talked about if you are ready, you will know how your spouse feels, because this is very important. The way we make each other feel in marriage really matters.
Yes.
If you are ready, if you want to know, you will know. Don't say that, oh, that's how women are, that's how men are. And don't gaslight, because some people just brush away each other's feeling. They really don't want to care. So you will not know if you are the problem.
And she also said that if you're causing harm deliberately, if you're really the problem in your spouse's life, in your spouse's mood, you will know. If you're doing it intentionally or not, you will know, because it's both of you. Or even if you doubt it, that is not from you, ask questions.
Ask questions. Ask questions.
Ask questions, just like why you said.
Why
It's
you
not
said.
enough for you to just sit down and observe, because not everybody that can really, read between the lines. Be open to communication. Be open to discussion, so that both of you will sit down and table. Honey, what's wrong with you? I mean, yesterday you were fine, you were all over me, but today I feel a little bit of distance. What could be the problem?
Mr. Menk said, if the relationship is not the way it was, if your spouse's mood, her behavior, the way she dresses, the way she sleeps, she's not sleeping well, things like that, find out why.
Why?
He said, he even gave an example of, I think he had it, where he said,
Salman al-Farisi noticed the wife of Abu Darda would not even take pride in her dress. So the question was asked, what's the matter? And she said, well, your brother is not really interested in the world. She said the world meaning in me, because she is supposed to be his world. So from this hadith, we learn that, as Sister Salatu said, you observe, you will notice she's withdrawn. She used to talk, she doesn't talk much. She used to take pride in her dress, she doesn't take pride in her dress anymore. She's sleeping a lot of the times. These are signs of some mental, perhaps, challenge. So if the problem we face is because you may have caused it, you would not even be interested in observing. So that's the problem. But if you really care and you fear Allah, there will come a time when you assume responsibility and say, it's because of me, this laziness is happening.
if a particular spouse is not thriving personally in their mood, in the way they dress, in the way they sleep, in the way they behave, then the other spouse, you should try to at least better, because everybody will be judged based on how we treat our spouses.
Yes.
And he said there are some women too that are like military dictators. Their husband will say, he said a brother told him that I fear my wife, and he's like, no, it's only Allah that we fear. So it means that the woman is a terror to him at home.
Yes.
We should not treat our spouses so badly that they fear us, or that they become, they don't find any joy in being with us.
Yes.
It makes life just miserable. And I think that was what the point Kojiji was trying to, that a lot of women cannot just cope with the trauma of living with somebody that they are so resentful and bitter with because of what he has caused them, that they have to resort to taking substance. Because ordinarily you'd be like, no, why should you, because of a man?
Yes.
But again, at the end, there was a way Coach Abdul Fattah also ran it of that you shouldn't also allow somebody else. As in marriage is not something you come to and you get transcendence. You just enter marriage and then everything is so rosy. You are eating with the angels. You are just enjoying life. No, he said, if you don't have ambitions, you don't have a purpose, you don't have goals, you don't have things that you want to do for humanity, you don't have any contribution for the ummah, then you will actually be depressed.
Yeah.
Which I think at the end of the day will be the remedy for whatever it is that people are going through. If they are able to go through therapy or counseling and they are able to heal, part of it will be forming a life for themselves. Mm-hmm. I know that, as very important as marriage is, we see it as the be-all and end-all, and our mood or the way we are is dictated based on how our spouse makes us feel. Mm-hmm. But we need to move beyond that to make Allah the cornerstone, such that however they choose to behave, which they will be judged for, which Allah will judge for them for, we need to develop ourselves
Yes.
to such an extent that our happiness or unhappiness is not dependent on their actions and inactions.
Yes, and you know, there's we saw the part, but I mean, it's not nice to know that you have a spouse at home. I mean, you have a husband or your wife, and then you at some point you fear, especially when you hear the sound of your spouse coming, your heart skips like another problem
Yes.
is coming, like this man has come again, this woman has come again, you know.
You don't-
I mean, you should feel sad. You feel bad that your spouse don't feel
Joy.
don't feel joy whenever he or she hears the sound of your movement coming in. He should feel happy. She should feel happy that, oh, the love of my life is coming. My angel, the crown of my head, Olowori me is coming, has come home. You feel joy that yes, even if you were in a foul mood before, but seeing your spouse should give you that joy, should bring back your sweet mood, should bring back that sweetness in you. That yes, the man that makes me happy is at home, has returned from work. But you know, some homes, if you don't hear the sound of their husband
Yeah.
or their wife,
I've heard, yes, I've heard many
to the
women
extent
say,
even the children.
I've heard many women say that it is so bad, they don't feel that joy. You know, your husband or spouse is supposed to be the coolness of your eyes, and also I think the calmness of your heart, something that gives you serenity, tranquility, peace of mind. Yeah. But when the opposite is the case, when you are in an unhealthy marriage or relationship, there is that, you know, agitation, anxiety.
Yes.
You know, I had a friend who just came out of a toxic marriage, and she was just talking about the kind of heart, the way her heart beats so fast whenever he's around. There's no joy, there's no peace, there's no calmness. She's always agitated when she's around you. And there are some men that don't go home when they close from work because of what they know they are going to meet. So this is not healthy for marriage, which is what I think all the discussions, especially the panel discussion on day 2, was all about, with Coach Abdul Fattah Adeyemi, Mufti Menk, Coach Wael Ibrahim, Sister Salatu Sule, and moderated by Coach Didi. So it was all about, you know, how spouses should take care of each other's mental health.
Yes.
Know when you are affecting your spouse's mental health. Know also how your spouse's behavior is affecting you, so that you can really get healing.
There's a part I noticed that I wish that they would talk about, which I didn't really hear them talk about. I don't know, because I wasn't there all through. That spouses are supposed to have empathy for each other. Like, put yourself in your wife's shoes. Like, if I were in this woman's shoes and this is happening to me, how will I feel? If I were in this man's shoes and this is happening, or I'm feeling this way, how would it feel like? Then I think when there's that empathy between, you know, when there's that empathy in you between couples, I think they tend to understand each other more and work on whatever lapses or whatever, you know, please help me.
Yes.
Whatever this thing they need to do to make sure to understand each other, to get each other, to carry each other along.
Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Yes, being so nonchalant. We have to be intentional.
Yes.
As Coach Wahid was saying, you have to be intentional about knowing what is healthy and what is unhealthy for marriage. If your spouse is not thriving, is not doing well, you should be concerned about it. Just like the statement Coach Salatu said, that you must be invested in how they feel.
Yes.
Be concerned about it so that you will know how to change. Find out. Try to find out exactly. He also spoke about the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. I said the prophet had 1,000 ways in love languages. If we see the way he treated his spouse, he wasn't somebody that would just, you know, brush under the carpet his wife's feeling and be like, I beg, what you are feeling is not important.
Yes.
He was concerned about everything that they did. He will even tease Aisha sometimes and say, you know, where is this coming from? What's wrong if she reacts in a certain way, or if she does something negative? He will even be telling somebody else that don't mind your mothers, they were only being jealous. He didn't see it as if it was a crime that they were expressing their feelings. Yes. Somebody was telling me about just showing jealousy. How a friend of hers showing jealousy was a trigger for the husband to react negatively. Yes. Because he could not understand that this is a natural phenomenon, or he did not want to understand that this is a natural phenomenon. So we should be concerned about the way men feel. Some women will disrespect their husband to the extent that he doesn't feel, that his ego, his male pride will be belittled. The same thing, some men, they don't want to understand what their
Yes.
wife is going through.
What are you saying? I even heard of recently a man almost divorced his wife just because she showed jealousy. Of course, yeah, okay, fine. She was jealous that he wanted to, marry another woman, and which to me I feel is normal jealousy, and I feel it's normal for a woman as long as I have to like even ask, did she do anything out of aside being just jealous? Did she act negatively outside that jealousy? And she said no. The only thing was just she. Okay, fine. Even though you sometimes you cannot hear from one party. It's good to hear from both sides. But then to me I feel attempting to do that was like out of place.
That's going overboard.
That's going overboard. I mean, what I expected at that moment was to sit the wife down and maybe make her understand and try to hear her own side of the pain, feel her pain points. Even though she cannot stop, of course, she can't stop you from going ahead with whatever you intend to do. Sit her down to make sure you both understand each other and
Each
come
other.
to the same page. Because,
Same page.
and I say it again, what if he eventually succeeded in divorcing that woman? Would he have that conscience to want to go and marry that woman and come to the house and he feels there will be peace even if she's far from the house, knowing that they won't have they have children together, and she, the wife, knowing that someone else left the house because of her, will she be happy in that marriage? Those are the things that I believe the husband of that woman should have considered. And
I think for spouses generally, we shouldn't crucify each other for whatever feelings we have or that the other person has. Let's try to find out, what is the reason for the negative feeling? Am I the cause of it? What can we do to make things better? Because dissolving a marriage because the other person is expressing his or her own feeling, it's just going overboard, and Allah will definitely ask us. We need to all remember that we'll be accountable to Allah for whatever we do. The long and short of the sessions on marriage and mental health, from what I got from it, is the fact that we should be very, very concerned about the way we are showing up in marriage, the way we are behaving, the way we act towards our spouse, how they feel about us. We need to even ask the question, how do I make you feel today? What do you expect to see from me? Do you feel happy being around me? So that you'll be able to show up better in marriage. And he talked about a funny incident where he sent a message to his wife saying, I love you.
I told her, I cried. So she replied me with a link. Wallahi, it's true. Some of you might have seen it because it became public. She replied me with a link. The link led to an Instagram post which says, husbands say what their wives want to hear, not what they really are doing. And they show you a little clip where the guy is messaging his wife who is on an aircraft while she is busy, and he's eating and say, I can't eat without you since you are gone. And he's eating and enjoying the food. And then she says, how's everything? She says, I can't even talk without you. And then he stops talking and he's munching the food. So I went to that post and I replied there saying, my wife sent me this link and it has messed everything up for me. This post here, But in the meantime, wallahi, I was being truthful, May Allah forgive.
I want to add something because you guys said 2 minutes each one.
It affected my mental health.
No, that was really hilarious. And that's true, really. Things as simple as, I love you, I miss you, how are you, I am sorry. As little as they sound, as simple as they sound, but are very expensive to some couples. Yes, do you agree with me on that? Now, when you offend your wife or your husband, some couple or some husband, some wife feel that, let me start with the wife. When you offend your husband, you feel that, what would I do to pacify this man? They have this ego, this pride of, how would I tell him I'm sorry? It feels so heavy. I didn't do anything that bad. Maybe I'm just getting a very fine pair of boxers or very fine wristwatch. That Rolex wristwatch that he likes. I wouldn't mind. I'll go pack up my savings and buy it for him. I think that will pacify him. Or my wife, wow. And yes, you offended your wife. She's angry at you. And you want to get her the best diamond earrings, best diamond necklace because she's a fashionista. But not unknown to you, that simple, I'm sorry, or come, let's talk. In fact, do you know that come alone, that's first attempt to like even call your wife, my darling, come, let's talk. Whatever fire that is in our hearts, wallahi, to start quenching from that process.
Which just goes to show that sometimes you need to understand your spouse's love language. It's not about, oh, let me do a very big gesture, a big and expensive gesture to show her. Just being a bit considerate, yes, considerate, affectionate, can actually win her over than the most expensive. I think one of the sheikhs also said this thing, that you may go and do that and buy all the flowers and a very expensive jewelry, but that's not what she wants. What she actually wants was just these little gestures of love.
Yeah, so.
And the day before, Coach Wael Ibrahim had also taken us on the psychology of resilience and mental health, and he told a very inspiring story about his journey from the wheelchair, how he had suffered from a spinal cord injury, or he said it was slip disc, but a very tormenting one, in the sense that he didn't have just one slip disc, he had 5 slip discs. So he was like, the pain was gruesome. It was unimaginable. He said it's something that even if he prays till today, he on his salat, he will make sujood and beg Allah to never let him or anybody experience such pain again. It was excruciating. And then somehow he was able to get up from it, and the whole journey was the story he told us. And in fact, there was so much to learn from that story. And while he was on the wheelchair, he wrote a book called My Wheelchair, How to Get Unstuck from the problems you have in life. And he said within 12 hours of putting that book on Amazon, it became a bestseller. And all over the world, people are using the wheelchair as an illusion, as a symbol for getting out of mental health issues. Those that are depressed, he has met a woman who was depressed, he has met somebody that had cancer, he has met, different people, just reading his book and being able to recover from whatever terrible thing that they are going through. And he talked about not being fake when we're trying to encourage somebody that is in trouble. Let us not be too fakely positive by telling the person, oh, things are going to be all right. That his turnaround came. He fell into depression, of course, because the pain was so much, he couldn't cope with the pain anymore. So when he was so severely depressed, everybody will come to him and say, oh, don't worry, everything is going to be fine. He felt like, you are lying to me, don't lie to me. But then one of his sheikhs called him, and when he was saying, I'm going to end it all, I can't take this pain anymore, he said to him, why don't you be patient? Why don't you remember the reward of patience? Like, what you are going through is valid. Your pain is real. But why don't you try to be patient in it? Why don't you remember the reward that awaits you? And he said it was then that he had a mindset shift and started to think, how do I function while still being in the wheelchair? Because before he didn't want to accept it. How can I live the rest of my life, on a wheelchair? Me that I used to be so active. He was even asking Allah, why will this happen to me? I'm a dai, I'm a father, I'm a man, I'm an active person. Why will I be stuck, with my whole body paralyzed down? But when he got that response from his sheikh that he needed to be patient with his trial, he now wrote on a sheet of paper, My Wheelchair, How to Get Unstuck from Life Challenges. And while still on the wheelchair, he went ahead and started his teaching job again. He continued his job. He tried to live even with that condition. And gradually, things became better. So that in every problem you have, you should just try to see, how do I move? How do I continue to thrive? How do I continue to function? Don't allow it to be the end of your life. And then don't feel as if, oh, you need to just get out of it today, the next minute. It will take time. It's a process. Somebody even asked him the question, what if the kind of problem you have, maybe is a health challenge, has taken 15 to 20 years? How do you give that person optimism that the person, she can still be happy? And he said, even now, he's still in pain. He is still in pain even now, but he just tries to see the light at the end of the tunnel, to see the khair in it. He was asking Allah, why did I go through this? And when he met that woman who said her entire family had an accident and they were all on wheelchair, but they read his book and it helped them, he now realized that there was a reason. There is a purpose for your pain. I like to say that there is khair in every trial. There is khair in every trial.
Really. Because some people tend to like give up when they find themselves in that pain, and some even go to the extent of wanting to commit. Let me just end it all. Let me just end it all. I mean, there's nothing left for me no more. But just like you said, care and patience, having patience and believe, be positive. take negativity out of your thinking. Just be positive and believe that God will do it. God has a purpose for everything. Every trial comes with a purpose, and believe that that's your own trial, and it will always come to you know, to an end in a positive way. Well, I hope
Alhamdulillah.
you got
There's too
the
much to say.
message. You know,
There's
there's
too
too
much to
much
say
to
about
say,
the Peace and Unity Convention.
me, the one that really like got me, that I really want to, is even the mental health and I mean the wellness talk, that the discussion that I had. So yes, I don't know if I've said this before, but if I haven't, I believe that after watching this video, you surely have a lot of take home from it. You have a lot of experience. But then I'll leave you with this question. Yes, just like one of the Sheikh said in the video, like, when was the last time you asked your spouse, how are you? When was the last time you told your spouse, I love you? As simple as that. If you have never done that before, and if you've never, or you've done that in a long time, please bring it back, and let's see how Allah takes it up from there. Bring it back and see how your relationship takes up from there. Because I know there are a lot of relationships out there that are almost on the rock, at the edge, because of simple things like this. Take pride out of your system. I know it's not something like I'm not a counselor though, but as a human and as a wife and as a mother, I think that's very important. Like sometimes that pride, they say pride comes before a fall or something. So please, let's try to, I don't know if you have a last word.
Let me end with something that Sister Taimia Zuberi talked about. That if the problem you have is such that you think that people will mock you, they will not understand, take it to Allah in prayer. You are actually allowed to talk to people about it too. But always make sure you take a decisive step.
Yes.
May Allah make it easy for us to all to heal from whatever pain it is that we are going through. And we look forward to the next One Ummah Peace and Unity Convention, inshallah.
Yes. So do well to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Most importantly, please drop your feedback at the comment section of this video. What lessons you have taken from this video, please feel free to drop it at the comment section. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.